I'm going to say something that might be off-putting at first, but hear me out. I think you might agree with me.
I mean, Christopher, you usually have great takes, so I'm definitely going to hear you out.
That Democrats can learn a lot from Donald Trump and what he is doing with mail-in voting right now.
Yeah, you and I both know that Donald Trump doesn't actually have the constitutional authority to end mail-in voting, and that elections are controlled by the states and not by the President of the United States. He's already tried this shit with an executive order back in, what was it, like March or something? And the courts already shut that down. But he's so desperate right now, he knows he's going to lose bigly in the midterms if people are allowed to have their votes cast and are allowed to have a representative democracy. So he's desperately trying to gerrymander and then suppress the vote. The two tried and true tactics I have talked about for ages. It's not that he's had Elon Musk use Starlink to zap the votes, y'all. It's gerrymandering and it's good old-fashioned voter suppression. Those have worked for the Republicans for decades, so they're not going to deviate from that plan. Anyway, I digress. Christopher, you go on to say that Trump is going to try this shit. He's not going to be successful, but it's going to use a ton of resources.
Important lawyers and law firms are going to have to waste tons of resources on lawsuits to try and get Donald Trump to not be a king.
Oh yeah, I see where you're going with this, and I'm definitely going to agree with you the whole way through. So this is a tactic that Trump has used for decades, right? He's very wealthy. He just sues the shit out of people, and he runs them out of money and time in the courts. He loves to tie up everything in litigation. It drains money and energy from the folks that he is targeting. And yes, we absolutely need organizations and attorneys to be able to hold him accountable through the courts. Yes, we run into a problem when we hit the uber-conservative, Christo-fascist majority on the Supreme Court. But more than not, the courts have been holding the line and have been preventing Trump from instituting the majority of the terrible things he wants to do. So we have to expend those resources, but he is going on the offensive. He's trying stuff, and now we have to turn around and defend against it. And I'm going to cut to the chase here. Yeah, go watch Chris's whole video because he makes a lot of really good points. But the core of his message is, why aren't we going on the offense more, right? He, in his video, goes on to praise Gavin Newsom for saying, let's use California and try and gerrymander the same way that the Republicans are trying to gerrymander in Texas. Why do we act like the only thing we can do is put up this defense? Why is it just hold the line and not push the fuck back? Why aren't Democrats being more aggressive? I mean, we can have a whole conversation about why most Democrats are being incredibly weak and are completely ill-equipped to meet this moment and are really pretending that it's business as usual, and they're hoping that the midterms will fix this, even in the face of Donald Trump trying to force states like Florida and Texas. Well, they don't have to really force them. The Republicans in those states are complicit with fascism, but the Republicans are going to gerrymander those states and deprive millions of Americans of representative democracy. Do their best to cheat and stack Congress because they know if people can vote and if people are able to choose their leaders, that the Republicans will fail. They can't win through legitimate means. They can only win through cheating. So why is it that so many establishment Democrats are like, oh, we're just going to have elections and then that'll magically make all of this go away? It's the same thing with Joe Biden getting elected, right? Too many Democrats are like, whew, we dodged a bullet. That's the end of that. And no, all of that was still under the surface brewing, right? And has resulted in what we have now. The timidity, the passivity of Democrats has helped bring about the reality that we have now. And Christopher makes a really good point. When the fuck are y'all going to start being aggressive? When are you going to take a play from the incredibly successful, Heritage Foundation fascist playbook? When are you going to do exactly what Governor Kathy Hochul said and fight fire with fire? I mean, we know that a highly effective strategy in resisting and opposing fascism is to fucking fight back. But as Christopher's saying, in the courts, why don't we try and do stuff that then the Republicans have to file lawsuits, have to expend their energy, have to divert their focus, and have to spend a lot of time trying to stop us? Why don't we do the same thing that they're doing to us, but for democracy instead of oppression? When are Democrats going to wake up and utilize any measure of tenacity? When are they going to have a spine? Again, Governor Pritzker, Gavin Newsom, to some extent, Governor Hochul, and we see some other progressive Democrats, definitely Jasmine Crockett, who are equipped to meet the moment. But they are being dragged down, slowed down by so many establishment moderate Democrats who are just like standing aside and letting fascism sweep on through. I don't know about y'all, but I'm so fucking sick of the American people fighting really hard and our elected officials not willing to bring that same energy. Several weeks ago, I covered a news story about how many establishment Democrats are pissed off and just like clutching their pearls. Like, my constituents are telling me I should be prepared to get arrested, or like I should be prepared for some kind of altercation. Like, this is just my job. It's unreasonable for them to ask me to take such a big risk. This is not business as usual. It's not just your job. Democracy is on the line. Our liberty, our freedoms, our way of life are on the line. And too many Democrats act like, this is just my job. Bro, my job before the election was making permaculture videos and homeschooling my kids. You know what my job is right now? My whole life is right now? Organizing to stop fascism, using every resource that I have, my platform, my energy, my skills. Y'all Democrats in Congress need to be doing the same. Stop asking more of your constituents than you are willing to give. You know, one of the main reasons that fascist regimes tend to be successful in cementing their power and taking over democracies, it's because the opposition can't get their shit together and can't fight back with the kind of aggression and strategy that is required. I know a lot of us don't like Gavin Newsom, but I think that Christopher's right. We need more of what Gavin is doing. We need more offense, a hell of a lot more. I talk a lot about gumming up the works, about malicious compliance, about non-compliance. That's not just for regular folks who are federal employees. It's not just for our service members. We've all got to be gumming up the works. Where are our elected officials doing that job? We still have Democrats that are voting to approve Trump nominees. We still have Democrats that are voting for and supporting legislation that the Republicans want. We saw 2 Texas Senate Democrats show up and enable the Republicans to get a quorum and push through their gerrymandering map in the Senate. And now it's going to go back to the House because the Texas Democrats, they did their job, they said, in raising awareness by dipping out to another state and ending the first special session. But now they're back in the gerrymandered map. I guess it's going to get pushed through. That's great that they gummed up the works for several days and slowed it down. Raising awareness is not going to stop fascism. Fighting back is going to stop fascism. Using the tools at our disposal, including the courts, going on offense, utilizing the same pathways that the Republicans, that the fascists are using. That's how we gum up the works. That's how we push back. And where is that? Where is that from the Democrats? I know it's frustrating, y'all. I ultimately believe it will be the people who save us. It will not be our politicians. Please do not make an idol out of Gavin Newsom. But we do need to be rewarding elected officials who understand the assignment and are rising to meet the moment. And right now, Gavin is one of those. And he has this position in the spotlight where his popularity is like through the roof. There's lots of guys that want to run for president. I understand Newsom may be doing this all to posture for a presidential run, to prep for a presidential run. Okay, if y'all don't like the fact that he's in the spotlight and people are making videos that are like, Gavin, yay, his hair is so thick or whatever, then cool, then you do something to stand up because he's standing up right now. He's the only one who has been framing, that's not true, Governor Pritzker has as well, but he also I think is going to run for president, who have been standing up and pushing back with the kind of offense that we need. If you elected officials don't like the fact that Gavin has most of the spotlight and Governor Pritzker has a little bit and you don't have any, you've clearly seen what the people want. Listen to what Christopher is saying. Look to where the people are lending their support. You show up with that same kind of tenacity. You show up with some offensive game. You actually do something to work to stop this, then maybe we'll get behind you.